Hello, Will. Welcome to my episode number 7 of An Interview with an Architect. This is Will from Made Architects, if you didn't guess by looking at the sign behind him. Um, Will, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And would you like to introduce yourself and speak personally about your experience as an architect and how you've gone through the ranks and so on and so forth? And then, of course, we'll go on to talking about Made Architects, who they are as a practice, and so on. So if you can introduce yourself, Will, and tell the audience who you are and etc.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I'm Will Stewart. I'm an associate here at Made Architects. We're a relatively young practice. We formed 2 years ago. That was through my directors, Nigel and Aaron. We've worked together for a number of years, and they wanted to branch out and do their own thing. So they've created Made Architects. Then about a year ago, they gave me the opportunity to come and join them. Which I couldn't refuse, so I've joined on with the sort of. We're based down in Reigate in Surrey. We're about a 10 strong team at the moment, but we're going through a period of growth. So it's about getting the right person in for the right role, but not just for the right role now, but roles in the future as well.
Yeah.
So we look forward to that growth. So we're based down in Reigate in Surrey. We work throughout the RIBA stages, so all the way from inception to completion, planning, technical, delivery. For myself, mostly I'm involved in the delivery side of architecture, which is where a lot of what I'm going to talk about sort of stems from. So we've got sort of good sort of splits between about 50 sort of
Yeah.
design, technical based people in the office. So that really allows us to be quite innovative and, like I say, deliver throughout.
Do you bring people up through the ranks as well, from part one, part two, and all the way through, as well as technicians,
Yes,
technologists, and a lot?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
Absolutely, yeah.
a big part of architecture, isn't it? You need to bring on, the sort of junior members of staff to train them up and then put them in a position where they can run their own projects and everything. And it's one of the things that's great about architecture as a profession is that ability to help to train next
Yes.
generation of architects as they come through. So we've got a mixture of part twos and part ones in the office at the moment. Right, one of them just helped me set up this microphone.
That's what the youngsters are for, isn't it, basically? And what about the projects you're involved in? Is it mainly residential? Are you involved in commercial, education, or what do you?
we're
Yeah.
we're kind of across the board really. Got a number of residential projects on the board at the moment. Got some retrofit projects on the board, education, some transport. It's sort of all over the place really, which is nice because we end up with a good diversity of
Yeah.
projects. So it's a diverse environment to be working in.
I may be wrong here, Will, but didn't I read earlier as well that you're a certified passive house designer yourself as well? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So that's kind of how Nigel and Aaron got me because we both sort of the three of us have like quite a passion for sustainability and sort of retrofit and all that, reducing carbon in general. So yeah, we got talking and sort of our ideals aligned quite nicely, which is how I came on, and they sort of asked me to bring along the sustainability side of it, and then with that knowledge of passive house to drive that forward to let's grow our portfolio that way. So it sort of creates a bit of a innovative environment in the office where sort of passive house side of it, the technical side of it, all the
And
science.
we spoke earlier about, obviously you're relatively new to the team. It's a fairly young office, and you're looking at some growth plans. How does that kind of look then? How does the future of the business? How is it laid out?
Well, it's sort of along the lines of um, how can I phrase this? So the way we're looking at growth at the moment is that it's getting the right people in. for the right, not for the right job necessarily at this time, but what's coming up in the future. So it's, are they going to fit with the team? Are the skills they've got going to be complementary to what we can already bring as a relatively innovative practice, and how that might fit in, not necessarily with the projects we've got right now, but with what we can foresee coming down the line. So and it's quite organic. It's sort of as the need arises, but also as we feel something might be particularly beneficial to ourselves.
From my point of view, I've been involved in architectural recruitment and marketing of practices for nearly 3 decades now, so a long time. Often there are very different challenges, whether it be location of your practice or the level of work you're involved in, or countless different things. Obviously, it's Architecture Vogue magazine that I own, which helps to promote practices and their vacancies. What challenges do you foresee with any potential new recruits that you're looking to take on, or historically, what have you found in your experience when you've worked at other practices as well? What have been any potential challenges that you've had, do you think, when looking to grow?
I mean, I think one of the main challenges is always sort of getting people up to speed with how you work, and particularly with the junior members of staff, and um, more versed with what you're actually expected to do in a practice, because that's never really addressed, I feel, within sort of your conventional sort of part one, part twos. So, bringing on those types of skills. But yeah, and then, there's all that sort of minutiae of what software you might be using and that. So it's
Do you,
yeah.
are you, as a practice, are you 5 days in the office, or do you have some hybrid remote working as well? How do you operate?
Yeah, no, that's right. So we're in the office 5 days a week. It's quite a conventional style of working. We have flexible hours, but I think where of that size, where we all kind of know what's going on with each other's projects, so it really helps that we all have that daily contact with each other. So you know what's going on with each other's lives, but then also you know what's going on within the projects. You know where everyone is, sort of on their development in practice and their own career, where strengths and weaknesses might lie within certain elements of the team. So we feel that having everyone in the office is quite beneficial to that. It's the hybrid working is something we do if we need to. To have members of the team who have children. Like later on in the year, I've got to do a bit of hybrid working to look after my son. And that's something that we embrace. But we feel for pushing the projects forward, it's having that face-to-face contact is quite critical, and especially bring.
Definitely. I think more practices are now, obviously, the COVID days, touch wood, are behind us. Um, yes, yeah. More practices are starting to do that now. Obviously, as you said, the continuity, being able to speak to your colleagues face to face about projects and what have you, that's a huge benefit, I think. And like you say, the junior members of staff, as you come up through a part one, part two, and so on and so forth, and that's crucial to their development as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Teams calls and everything, it's an incredibly useful tool. Don't get me wrong, and we still do Teams calls on a regular basis, but there is something that's lacking from it, and I think that's just that the intricacies of being able to read someone's body language when you're sat there with seeing if something's particularly frustrating, or they're particularly interested in particular task that you might be on.
Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely agree. It was quite alien to us. I come from a working background where it was just in an office. That's it. You wouldn't even go back pre-COVID, or go back to the late '80s, early '90s when I started working and what have you. It was imagine saying, "Oh yeah, I'd like to work from home twice a week." It's like, well, hang on, what are you on about? Quite an alien concept, but no, I think we're coming around to just the 5 days back in an office now, and certainly in the architecture industry, that's crucial.
Yeah, I think it's well, like I say, there's a time and place for both things. Another pandemic comes along, and I'm sure we'll all be back on Teams before we know it. So,
As you say, with growth plans and what have you, what's your kind of next step then for the business now? Are you actively looking imminently?
So what we're really looking to, got a number of exciting projects that are sort of coming onto the cards at the moment. But myself, I'm looking to grow that sustainable side of it, and as I say, the passive house and the retrofit side of the business. Got a couple of exciting projects which are on the cards at the moment, but it's all about getting the exposure out there and sort of debunking some of the myths about passive house and getting it sort of generally, I don't want to say more accepted, but better coverage of it. I think generally, if I say that let's have a look at sustainability of a project, or how can we reduce the operational carbon or embodied carbon, it's the question often comes back to cost and what the actual benefits of it are. So it's about trying to, for me, it's about trying to open up that understanding and awareness of projects which might have retrofit qualities or passive house qualities, and what the benefits are there. So yeah, that's sort of the push.
Well, hopefully these podcasts, the things we've spoken about, any marketing we can do on your behalf, that's we've spoken. I spoke to, you mentioned Nigel. I spoke to Nigel the other week. Nigel is going to imminently share some of your projects on Architecture Vogue magazine, which again, with the text and the context of that, will help promote you and get the message of passive house sustainability and alike out to a larger audience. And that's the whole premise of this podcast, and meeting people like you to help share your message of the industry out to a mass audience. And if we can do that together, then we're doing well, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's the people I've met before you and are yet to meet. It is a case that LinkedIn is a brilliant tool. LinkedIn is excellent for sharing content and what have you. But coupled with videos like this and having a podcast, and if you're looking to market your business and share your message, then absolutely, this is what we're here to do. In any way we can help at all. So it's very good. Well, I think Will, that kind of draws a close to everything. It's been certainly learning about the practice, you as an individual, your growth plans, and what the business plans to do in the foreseeable future. Has been brilliant. Thank you for coming on.
All right, well, cheers for having me on the podcast, Nick. It's fantastic. Thrilled to be here.
It's been a really good conversation. I hope we can help with the message you're trying to get across, and to help promote the practice and the wonderful work you do and the projects you're involved in. To anybody else that's viewing this, remember to like and subscribe. And we thank you, Will, for joining. We thank you for watching. And we will see you again at the next episode. Thank you.